Action! Welcome to another episode of the Action Podcast. We are on episode 39, and today on our new release schedule, our first film we're going to be reviewing is called Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Weird Al, if you're familiar with him. That is on the Roku channel. Our second movie that we're going to be reviewing is Causeway, starring Jennifer Lawrence, which is on Apple TV Plus -live, all those good things. Our third movie they're going to be reviewing is Armageddon Time, which stars Anthony Hopkins. Fourth film is My Policeman, which stars Harry Stiles. Fifth
on Prime.
On Prime. Fifth movie is Banshees of Inishirin. I think I already said it wrong. It's not Inishirin. Inishirin. The Banshees of Inishirin. And that is starring Colin Ferrell. And
Who's
lastly,
crushing this year.
Yeah. And lastly, we'll See How They Run, which is now on HBO Max. It's already been in theaters on a quick little run, but now it's you can see it streaming. So with that, Pete, let's start with our number one film, which is we both were super looking forward to this, which is Weird, the Al Yankovic story. We grew up big fans. I think you technically had the albums, but yep. We listened to all of them. Big UHF fan is one of my favorite movies as well. So I'm dying to hear how did this go for you?
This was incredible. I loved every second of it. It was really a bizarre movie, and it was really kind of ballsy in a way to make a biopic like this, because it starts off and you're watching it and you're like, okay, this is a legitimate biopic, and then at some point it just goes off the rails completely into this complete spoof of what a biopic is. And I thought that Daniel Radcliffe was great. Rainn Wilson is always good.
Yeah.
And then there was a bunch of like little cameos in there. But this was just a hilarious spoof on his life. Very UHF.
100%.
And it was funny all the way through. Not like, bursting out loud funny, but it was just a really well done film. I recommend seeing this to everybody. If you're not a Weird Al fan, you might not like it, but I think if you go into it with a certain expectation,
lighthearted,
don't go looking for an Oscar winner or anything, but it's funny movie, man.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely say I didn't like it as much as UHF. But I agree with you. It's right there with it. It's just not as outrageous as UHF, but at the same time it is. And I like you're saying, I loved the direction it took. This was based off of a trailer that was on Funny or Die. So Funny or Die was actually the production company for this, and teamed up with Roku channel. So this is I don't know if they've ever done a bigger film than this in terms of like their original content.
No idea.
So. But yeah, Eric Appel was the director, and Weird Al wrote it. And yeah, like you're saying, I had in the beginning, it had a Dewey Cox vibe to it, Walk Hard, Dewey Cox story. And so I liked it, and the dad was a little outrageous, and I'm just like, okay, like let's see where this goes. And then the whole Madonna stuff happens. And then I'm like, did this really happen?
Yeah. Did that really happen? That was the moment. Yeah. That was the moment where you're like, I don't know. Okay, just a little embellishment. Okay, we'll let it go. And then they're like full on dating, and then Pablo Escobar and
the Michael Jackson stuff is awesome. Like the turn they took on that was awesome. And again,
at that moment though, the Michael Jackson part, I was like, wait a minute, did it? No, I could have sworn. What? Are you sure?
Yeah.
It just messed with my mind, being a big super fan of,
for sure,
of him, and making the dad Amish is just so classic. It's just what a great way to end the film.
And I love just again, so if two things to audience members. One, listen to a few Weird Al Yankovic songs if you've never heard of him or never listened before. Mainly listen to the main ones like Eat It and Fat.
My Bologna.
Yeah, My Bologna.
Amish Paradise.
Like a Surgeon, Amish Paradise. Those are what was the first song his first release?
It was
My
My
Bologna.
Bologna.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I kind of liked how he came up with the ideas for some of these songs. So that was again just super clever.
It's getting great reviews too. I mean, it's a 7.2
7-2, yeah.
on IMDb, at 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, people are loving this film, and I agree with them 100%.
Yeah.
Favorite film of the week by far.
Yeah, for sure. And probably one of the funnier films I've seen this year. I'm trying to think of another comedy that was just like I want to see again, you know. But this
I want
was
to see it again because I feel like I missed out on a bunch of stuff, like because I was taking it seriously, and so maybe I wasn't paying attention to some of the spoofs.
yeah,
I'm looking up the director right now, Eric Appel.
Apple.
Well, I say Appel. Oh, he did Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Silicon Valley. All right,
Brooklyn
he's
Nine-Nine's
good.
a good comp. I mean, that's the type of humor this is. This is, the silly humor, the outrageous type of humor. This is not highbrow. This is definitely lowbrow humor. But again, I think it's a fun movie to watch, and definitely recommend it. And again, and if you haven't seen Weird Al Yankovic's first film, UHF, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's one of the spoof of all spoofs. I mean, this is up there with like the Naked Guns, Scary Movie, all those type of films.
Never really got a ton of love, that UHF, but it is a
It's a cult
classic
classic.
movie.
Yeah, it's more of a cult classic. But
Yeah.
one of my definitely my favorite films. Awesome. So, you guys are getting basically 2 thumbs up from us, from the Escarcega Bros. So check that out.
Sounds like
Our next film is Causeway, which again on Apple TV Plus Live, and that is starring Jennifer Lawrence and Brian Tyree something.
Henry
Henry, yeah.
from Bullet Train. He's one of my favorite dudes.
Yes, and the Eternals as well.
Yeah.
So I'll start with this one. Obviously, when you have, I thought it was okay. Hall of Good, nothing spectacular. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. I didn't regret watching it. I think like I said, I think it was a single, but it, I didn't feel like it really kind of dug deep enough. I felt like maybe a little too on surfacey, and I don't know, just didn't think this is the most kind of film that connected with the most. I don't, like I said, didn't think it's terrible. I think it's worth a watch. Again, good acting on both of their parts. Just I don't know, kind of wanted more, higher expectations, I guess.
Yeah. I agree. Big rating, high ratings all around. I mean, a lot of people are liking this film. But Brian Tyree Henry, I think that he should at least get a supporting actor nod for this one. I thought that his performance was good. I thought he did better than Jennifer Lawrence did. I mean, she was fine. But yeah, I mean, she plays a U.S. soldier who gets brain trauma in Afghanistan, and this is basically her trying to cope with going back to normal life and trying to be 100% again, and she wants to go back again. And it was just, man, what a drawn out sort of. I think they could have done it a little bit snappier,
Yeah.
maybe added some things to kind of make you like, wow, okay, that was cool.
There was no like major events, you know what I mean? Like
No,
it
she
was just
cleaned a
very,
pool once.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it was just like, okay.
But as depressing as it kind of felt throughout the whole movie, spoiler, fast forward if you don't want to hear it. 3, 2, 1, and now you've been warned. I wanted it to end sad. I wanted it to be a depressing ending. I wanted somebody to die, and I wanted her to not get reinstated. You know what I mean? Like I just wanted it to stay that tone.
It needed more. Yeah, it didn't
Drag
push
me
enough.
through it that far. At least,
Yeah.
crush me at the end with something devastating.
Yeah. Have you seen Thank You for Your Service?
No.
That's with Miles Teller. I think to me that's a better done film on this type of topic, and kind of similar, soldiers that are coming back that are trying to simulate. And I like this topic. So again, I enjoy watching these type of films there, but like I said, I think when you watch those two, you'll just, to me, this is one that's well done versus one that just, I think needed more. So again, I think it's worth a watch, especially on Apple TV Plus. But yeah, so
Apple Plus TV Extra.
See it at your own risk, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
The third film that we're gonna watch is Armageddon Time, and
which I did not see.
This one I was super looking forward to. Jeremy Strong's in this, who has really been crushing on Succession. Anne Hathaway, Anthony Hopkins, of course, and James Gray is the director, and he did Ad Astra, Lost City of Z, We Own the Night. I mean, this guy has a incredible track record for films. So I was
the premise
super looking forward. So the premise is, I'm just going to read what this says: a deeply personal coming of age story about the strength of family and generational pursuit of the American dream. So essentially, it's kind of like two kids. Yeah, good luck with that. There's like two kids growing up. One's like a Jewish kid and another black kid, and they grow up like in New York, and they're like troublemakers. And but the Jewish kid kind of keeps getting into trouble, and so the parents send him to like a good school, not a non-public school, to get better education. And then and then it kind of deals with like a little bit of like racial tensions and how like they're changing their name. The Jewish people are changing their name so that they have a better chance, because if they have like one of the harder kind of Jewish names, they get discriminated against. So and the trailer is excellent. And
yeah, the trailer was great. Anthony Hopkins looked like he would give another great performance.
I mean, Jeremy Strong, there's a couple scenes in this that are super powerful. And I think I sometimes I agree, like probably someone in here it should be nominated for an Oscar, whether it's Jeremy Strong, even Anthony Hopkins is good, or even the kid's really good too. A lot of great performances in this overall. Anne Hathaway actually is one of her a completely different role that she's really done before. She does amazing as well. Both of the kids are excellent. Jaylin Webb and Banks Repeta. I just kind of we're talking about with Causeway. I felt like the pacing was just a little too slow, and again didn't push enough in the different directions. It's an interesting story, but kind of the same thing. Just want a little bit more to kind of keep the story going a little bit more. This one's got a 7 on IMDb, so it's doing okay. This is not going to be one that's going to crush the box office. I'm trying to see. It's 74 Metascore. I think that's a solid number, 74. So it's, if you really like these type of slower developing films, I think you might really like this.
It's on my list for sure. I mean, I remember the trailer and being not excited about it. It's not like Wakanda Forever, but it piqued my interest for sure. And Anthony Hopkins in the trailer really stood out. Like it was going to be one of those kind of movies where he just takes over, and he just hits you with like life knowledge and lessons, and that's the impression I got, anyways.
Yeah, like I said, I thought this was just going to be more like, I thought there's going to be a little bit darker, I guess, maybe, or like more eventful. And so that was just, again, kind of maybe the trailer was so good, just kind of picked up expectations a little bit. But I think it's out in theaters now. If this type of movie interests you, like I said, it's kind of a single. Give it a single. If you like this type of movies, I'd say go for it. If not, this is not going to be a film for everybody. So next, let's move to My Policeman, starring Harry Stiles. Pete, you saw this one.
What do you think? I saw this one on the Prime. This is with Harry Stiles and Emma Corrin and a few other people that were in it throughout. This is wow. Here's a positive. Harry Stiles is getting better as an actor. in this he did a lot better in this one than I think, and he did good in Don't Worry Darling. I just didn't think that the role was for him. I thought somebody else with more experience would have crushed that movie.
Yeah.
And this one, again, he did good. You can definitely see potential in his ability as an actor. So that's encouraging. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the future, of course. This movie is okay. So Harry Styles meets a girl, but then he also meets a guy, and he basically continues a relationship with this guy behind the wife's back because they get married, and Harry Styles plays the policeman. And so the movie it's a back and forth between like the beginning of the relationship and then the actual romance between the two men. But then also when they're old and one of them is dying and the other two have to sort of take care of them, but there's still issues and they have to get over these issues. And it's just, God, it's just, I think it's as another case of it could have been told better, the story, because it's a good story, and the performance are good as well. It was too much back and forth between modern and past. It really felt like it tried to do The Notebook but completely got it wrong. You know what I mean? Like The Notebook was just really well done, and you didn't get a ton of that old person screen time. It was all about that the young romance and that story, which this could have been another sort of Notebook, but it wasn't. It's not getting huge reviews. It's a 6.6 on IMDb, which is not bad, but 43% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I think the majority of the audience is starting to side with sort of my thoughts on it. I think it could have been done better.
Awesome. Next we have Banshees of I can't pronounce this word the life of me. Goodness sakes.
Banshees of Ed Sheeran.
Inishirin, yes, Inishirin. I can, when I see it, I can say it properly.
Just think Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, I know. Banshees of Inishirin. So this was directed by, one of the reasons I want to see this has an 8.2 on IMDb.
I've been wanting to see this movie.
Martin McDonagh wrote and directed this one. He did the Three Billboards movie,
which I loved.
Yeah, and so Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And so this guy, really good director. And Colin Ferrell, like we've been mentioning, he's been on a tear late. So this was another amazing performance by him. Again, just
what a resurgence.
Kind of completely different character than he's been on a lot of them. He's really kind of this very timid and soft character,
Really?
So it's interesting. And him, it's a kind of a weird story. It's just like about two friends that kind of beef, and then kind of the consequences that happen when two people can't find resolutions, and it's a kind of a crazy film. Overall, it's an interesting film. It drags a little bit in the middle, but then finishes strong. And one of the things I do like about this film is, this is an Irish film. Like, you want to know what a small town in Ireland is like this film, you really feel like you're on Ireland, and you can imagine there's only like one pub on the island and everybody walks to it. Like, there's no cars. I mean,
so if you have a beef with somebody, they're probably in that one bar too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. God. So, coming from Monrovia, there's I felt a little resemblance kind of to it. But yeah, I'd say overall, good performances overall. I mean, you want to talk about some of the best Irish actors or UK actors. I mean, again, Brendan Gleeson, Kerry Condon's the sister, Siobhan, Barry Keoghan from Ready Player One. He's a quirky character in this one. Like, you watch Ready Player One, you're like, wait, this is the same kid. Like, it threw me off at first.
Really?
But
I'm looking forward to seeing this. It's on the top of my list to see. I mean,
yeah, it was entertaining. Like I said, a little slow in the middle, but overall, kind of, again, it's kind of a different story that you don't typically see. It again, just kind of really kind of a delve into Irish culture. So
that's great to hear. I'm happy that Colin Farrell just continues to crush this year. God, man, I'm just so happy for him.
I would say I like this more than Causeway, if I have to be honest. Like, if I have to watch another of these films again, because this one's actually funny. Like they have a good like little dialogue in the way. I don't know if it's an actual Irish thing or just like a stylistic thing for Martin McDonagh, but they have a funny little way they talk in the rapport with people in the town. So okay, moving on, our last film, because we do need to hurry. See How They Run, Pete. Give us a quick little rundown on this one.
See How They Run. This is with Sam Rockwell, who's always great. Adrian Brody is in it for a short amount of time, but it's all based on what happens to his character, who's murdered. This is a classic whodunit about a play, a very successful play that they're going to make into a film. And the play is it's an Agatha Christie play, so it's a whodunit play is the centerpiece. And Adrian Brody's character gets killed, gets murdered, and then Sam Rockwell is the detective who comes in and tries to solve the case. The classic whodunit. It's a fun movie. It's good. It's not hilarious. I thought this was going to be more of a comedic thing. There are some very funny moments in it, but 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I totally agree with that. This is a great watch. And now it's on HBO Max, so you don't even have to go to the theaters to see it. You just kind of put on your PJs, get some popcorn, watch it. This is a great film.
Awesome.
Good film.
Yeah,
Good film.
I wanted to see this in theaters, and I couldn't get it to it with my schedule. But yeah, looking forward to watching it on HBO Max. So it's good to hear. Awesome. So that wraps it up for our new release films. Next week we have a big week. We have Marvel. We have Marvel, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Probably one of the most anticipated movies of 2022. And I expect nothing but the best here. I expect it to be better than Doctor Strange. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, 100%. I've heard that this is one of the more emotional films that you're going to probably see this year.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I mean,
yeah. And then we also on the docket is Spirited, starring Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. I mean, I love those both. I'm very, very curious to see how their rapport goes. Sometimes these films don't always work when you got two big powerhouses. So I'm very curious. Hopefully it does, because I really love both these guys. I want it to work. So
you'll be able to, if you can't make it to the theaters to see that, I know it's going to be available on Apple Plus as well.
TV Plus.
Apple Plus TV
Plus.
Awesome.
So, and then on our other podcast, later this week, we'll have Pulp Fiction coming out with John Cardiel and Drew Stewart.
That was really fun.
Yeah, that's a really fun one. Pete and I get into it a little bit, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we get into it because Paul's wrong.
Some brother fireworks there. We also have the one and only Rocky IV, and we're going to be discussing not just Rocky IV, but also this new Stallone cut, and we're all going to give our feedback on that, how it differs from the original, and then we have some great categories with that, and then we're going to start hitting our Christmas docket. We've got Home Alone, we've got Elf, Die Hard, Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation. Those are all going to be coming up in late November, early December, all the way up to Christmas. So
getting us ready for the holiday season.
Yeah, so we got an action-packed action podcast coming up. Thank you everybody for tuning in. If you're listening to us on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your favorite podcast, please make sure you like and share. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, please comment below a movie that you want to watch. Also, if you agree, if you've seen these movies, we'd like to hear your opinion as well. And yeah, with that being said, everyone, that is a cut. Thanks, guys.